Let's not get started on how the Nigerian system, the typical Nigerian school. When I say typical Nigerian school, I'm still not talking about private schools or private universities. I'm talking about government school, federal schools, combined with a low income household. The typical Nigerian school breaks your self esteem to the tiniest pieces. A classic example is school fees drive, and again, tissue and soap. And let's not even forget broom, soap, all those little things. But a major one is school fees drive. School fees drive basically is when a student owes school fees, as the name implies, and then the teacher doesn't talk to the parent again. And let's move to senior secondary, because junior secondary, I think it's forgivable. We can easily cancel it out at some point. But senior secondary, you are aware, like at that time, for a typical girl, you are checking yourself out. For that time, at that time, for a typical boy, you are aware that all the girls are looking at you, and you have a lot more self-awareness than you would in junior secondary. That's why I'm like, let's focus on the senior secondary aspect. I'm talking from SS1 to SS3. That's how we grade our school systems in Nigeria. So during school fees drive, a teacher just calls you out. They normally have a long file of names arranged in alphabetical order, written in red pen for boys, blue pen for girls, or vice versa. So they call you. Benga Oluwaseun, present, paid. Faithful Anosike, present, paid. Nancy Otobuwa, they look at you through their glasses. You're all since first term. Get out of my class, pick your bag and get out. You can't see it, but for those of us that have experienced it, you can feel your heart just break. As if that is not enough. A lot of times they tell you, okay, go and kneel down under that field. So tomorrow, go and kneel down under that field. Tomorrow, you tell your parents to bring that school fees. Are we doing free work here? Don't forget all this anger they are do all this anger and all this bragadosh they are doing is not just because you are owing. There's a lot of pent up bitterness already. Let's not even forget, from the family system, you don't even know if the woman is loved at home or if the man is loved at home. So they just come, and because a student is lower than them in rank, they can just pour it all, and we all see it and say, oh, maybe they must be angry at the school fees drive. But it's not solely about the fact that the student has not paid school fees. But go ahead to the student, how it makes you feel as a person. You are now very aware that, wait a minute, I am lower than these people. I'm kneeling down outside on the field under hot sun because it was just unfortunate that my parents could not afford my school fees at the time the school wanted it. And you can see from where you kneel, your classmates in the class, everybody's laughing, everyone is sitting, and you and some group of students, because it's hardly ever one person, you and some group of students are kneeling under the sun. Or maybe you and some students have been flogged and sent home. Let's not even forget how demeaning that is, because your neighbors will see you coming home by 12 when you close by 3. So they're going to be looking at you funny. If you guys closed, and maybe if you're a type that is very shy and very out of the way, maybe you cook up a lie. But if you're a type that doesn't care, like me when I didn't used to care, you just don't answer. And they hate it when you don't answer, because how dare you not answer an elder? So at that point, you're already aware that you are of lower class in a country that is already difficult. The mood swings sun even inflicts on us is already too much. You will now add that one on top. And don't forget, your you have to go to school tomorrow, because your parents won't let you stay home. They'll say, go to school, I'll call the teacher. And most times they don't call the teacher. Maybe they call the teacher and teacher doesn't understand, and you try your luck, you go back to school. The same cycle happens for like 1 week, until maybe somehow your dad gets a contract, and somehow they could afford to pay half of the school fees, because you're not the only one in the house, you have siblings. So things have to come first, and then you pay half of the school fees. Like, that is not enough for the school authorities, they humiliate you still, but not as much as they would when you've not paid at all. So you're already aware that, oh, I'm lower, oh, in this class, and this kind of breaks our self-esteem if you're not careful. So something about you has to stand out in the midst of all this chaos. It's either you're a very brilliant student, so it would be like, oh, this girl is brilliant, this boy is brilliant, but they were not able to afford school fees this time. Or, oh, this girl is fine, no, fine girl. Ah, fine girl, why are you kneeling under the sun? Handsome boy, hardly. Why are you kneeling under the sun? Oh yeah, go to the corridor because you are fine. So except you have something that stands out, you are finished in a typical Nigerian education system coming from a low income household. So if you're not conventionally pretty, or maybe you are not the most brilliant in the class, or maybe you are not talented, you can't sing, you can't dance, you're not the class clown, you are just existing as a person, you are a ghost, because everybody subconsciously feels like you even deserve to kneel down. So when we grow to become adults, coming from this kind of establishment, we feel a lot of times like we have no place in the world. Hope is gone. Dream, how dare you dream? Dreams are gone, hope is gone. In a workplace, you want to close yourself, you don't want to say what you think, because subconsciously you feel, you know what, all these things have been happening already, and what makes me qualified to be here even. So we have to be very careful of the way we treat our children, of the way we treat youths. And I can understand that the system is bad and the government is not doing very well, but we have to try. At least we have to try. You know, I'm not a teacher, so I can't understand, but I can understand what it's like to have to pressure the students so they can pressure their parents. Because if you don't add that pressure, a lot of them are going to fall back and be like, go to the school is not strict. And then the teachers will not have what to eat, because you have to, there has to be enough inflow before salaries can come in. So I can understand the frustration. The establishment itself is bad. So these are the things that are just pushing people to frustration more and more and more. And then we don't talk about love more and more and more, and then these problems just keep piling up, and piling up. And those students in the class that have paid their school fees, a lot of them are usually very arrogant. They blow you raspberries, or maybe they make one silly remark about your parents, because a lot of times they're usually children of lecturers. And if you were a child of a lecturer in a federal or government school, it was a big deal, because you were never chased. It was just deducted from your father or mother's salary straight up. You were never chased. You were covered. So, and a lot of times some are sympathetic. They say, what's happened now? Okay, they can't really help. What can they do? They're students just like you and me, just like them at that time. So they can't really do much. So is this, you're stuck in between bullies and people that sympathize but can't do anything. So you're hearing sorry, sorry, but no action. Not because they don't want to, but because they can't. So those kind of people are now thrown into the workforce, and we have people that are very classist, egotistic a lot of times, and we have people that are sympathetic and rich, egotistic and rich, and we have people from low income that are coming from low income houses and coming from federal and government schools that are just very mellow and don't say what they think because they've been humiliated, and they have to work extra, they have to hustle. And we see it as, oh, you love to hustle, but it's just the way they have been able to cope throughout the years. Don't forget, this starts from nursery to kindergarten to primary, secondary. So you can imagine what that kind of adult to turn to be. So let's try, okay? Let's try. Let's do what we can, because the authorities, even if we get a hearing aid for the authorities, I don't know if it's going to do very much, but we can only be hopeful, because hope sustains. So be kind to one another, be gracious to one another, and the Lord will shine his mighty face upon us and give us peace and give us rest eventually.